Hello, this is Everett Pierce III with Einstein 314. Now, this is part 5 of Duly Noted. And in this video, we are going to address the First Amendment right versus education. So, before we get started, we are going to cover it on many different levels. I'm not a scholar. I teach from an author perspective. Okay. So, what's been in the news, if you've heard, there's been a video on YouTube, and essentially I think it was a student who recorded a teacher in class, in a psychology class, basically doing like a debate, basically subjecting the students to her propaganda because she's not under oath. The things that were said in this video is not provable, conjectures. And see, that's what the problem that we have in society is. There's so much of the discombobulation out there. It's like people lost in translation. Is that what is a conjecture? What is fact? And it's mingled together, and it's like when someone puts out a conjecture as if it's a fact. Okay, I'm going to clarify certain things when it comes to our First Amendment right. Okay, and I'm going to give examples, and when I give these examples, it will fall in a category of we hold these truths to be self-evident. Now, this is one of the areas that is a very pet peeve of mine. So I'm going to try to be as nice as I possibly can. But when you're dealing and you're messing with our future generations, just do know it pisses me off. Because I'm a teacher of teachers. I know the proper protocol and the foundation when it comes to teaching. So you're not going to come forward with nonsense. Okay? But because the things have been established in America means duly noted. I observe. I've heard many different perspectives of this. Now, here's my conclusion. Much higher level than a Supreme Court judge would ever be. Okay, and that's not putting the judges down. This has come from a foundational of energy that makes logical sense. And it's in, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that. Okay. So, first of all, if you've enjoyed any of my videos, and you want to give back a token of your appreciation, you can do that at paypal.me/Everett Pierce, EVERETT Pierce, P-I-E-R-C-E. Okay, so this is one of my pet peeves. I've done research. I've done physically put myself behind the wall of prison. So I know both sides of the fence, from people in society, people in prison, of human behavior, advanced level 3. Okay, now you have a teacher. She's being paid to teach our youth. Okay, even if our youth is in college, because there's a lot of kids, no offense to anyone in college, but on my observation, it's like I see people in college, and it's like they're adult, they're in college, they're smart, but there are other areas of their development of self, their maturity, isn't quite developed yet. So not to confuse that with someone's intelligence, because if they're smart, that means a really good development of remembering things. Okay, so you have a teacher that's being paid to teach. That is her or his job. Okay, so when you take class time, and I'm a student, and you are talking about what was said in that video, you have now become a thief to me. I'm in this psychology class. I'm paying you to teach me psychology, not to teach me conjectures. This is not a political class, and we'll cover that as well, as far as what is accepted as a default. Okay. Now, so not only is she's a thief to me, she's taken away my time. She thinks it is okay to waste my time. I'm here. I'm spending time here to learn psychology. Okay, that's error number one. Bang. Now, as Einstein, I said, is use your objective and creative mind. Okay. Now, let's put other things in here. Okay, what if this person is one of those radical Islamic individuals, and they stop the class and say, Americans really, they're this and this and this, and you really should kill Americans. You say, wait a minute, obviously you would say, we wouldn't dare have something like that in our classes, right? Well, that's obvious. Okay, so why would you want a teacher in there who's putting conjectures, who isn't under oath, and the things she's saying is it's not evidence, it's not fact, okay? And the main thing is the teacher is not protected under the First Amendment right. She has a job, and it is her job to know that field like psychology and teach it. Okay, otherwise, now let's put to something else. We'll say Pepsi. Pepsi gets in and says, hey, we'll give you a $30,000 endorsement. And then you come into class and you see these cases of Pepsi, and she's got a Pepsi here. It says, well, let's talk about the sugar and the importance of sugar. Essentially, she's advertising. Okay? I paid to learn psychology. I didn't pay to come in here to be advertised to. And as we know, with advertisements and capitalism, I understand capitalism. I wrote the book. Okay, so you're diverting. Okay, and I've seen with inmates and convicted felons and also people in society. You give a man an inch, he takes it to a mile. So you got businesses now will influence our teachers. You got radical Islamic terrorism going on out there. And so essentially this teacher is like saying, okay, here's a white piece of paper, and this is all that you need to know. Okay, education is expanding the mind. It's not voicing your opinion. You're not being paid to do that. You're being paid to do what that class is, psychology. So there's so many things. She's not protected underneath the First Amendment. Well, she has the right to voice the thing. Fine. Then she needs to take her ass, or if there's a gentleman, or if there's a male instructor doing the same thing, they need to take their ass out on the sidewalk and do it on their own time. Because these students, or if it's a city or a college, they are paying good money for you to teach them. Not to teach propaganda. Teach things that you're not under oath. These are not factual things. So no, that is totally wrong. And it pisses me off that you even remotely think that. Otherwise, you got companies that'll come in, the walls will be plastered just like NASCAR. There'll be stickers everywhere. And then we'll have teachers in there that, could be radical Islam. That's the reason why, in terms of separation of church and state, we hold these truths to be self-evident. She's being paid, or he's being paid to teach a particular thing. They're not there to convince or persuade someone. This is not debating. That's a different thing. And that teacher is also debating the different techniques of debate. Okay? And they are giving the students what they're paying for. So when you take the class and stop and say, well, we're going to talk, no. That is so wrong. They are not protected underneath the First Amendment right. If they're protesting, then get your ass out on the sidewalk and put a sign in your hand and do protest normal. But don't be a thief to the students, and in the same way with the students. It can work the reverse side of that coin. Student says, well, ma'am, it is psychology today. Even though Donald Trump, that kind, it can work both ways as students. If the student is trying to, once you hear something, it's hard not to hear it. Okay, you have to set these certain guidelines and boundaries. Otherwise, people take that inch and they stretch it out to a mile. It'll be capitalism, radical Islam. Okay, so now let's say you have a class of political science or political or government. Okay, it is your job to teach. It is to teach all different facets of our government, the politics, the politic groups. But it is not your job, say if you're Republican or Democrat, I don't care which one, or liberal, and you say, well, Donald Trump this and Donald Trump that. No, you're there to teach things that is foundational. It falls in line, we hold the truth to be self-evident if you're going to talk about history. So First Amendment, that means protesting, speaking out. Okay, that's on your own time. But when you're being paid by that student, they are expecting you, I'm expecting you to teach them in a non-biased way what they are paying for. Not to come to a class. So in a sense, when she's done that, she's also kidnapped. In the sense of what? Well, she didn't actually go over and hold them in. Well, when you stop and think about it, they're in a class, and if they don't participate, now even though if they don't participate, so well, all these people, these people left, she can say, okay, I'll just mark against him or her, and it'll be under lack of participation. Because he didn't want to hear her propaganda, didn't want to hear her conjectures. So you can see how this can go in many different areas in a big, giant, pardon my French, big, giant clusterfuck. You have to stay focused into the material in which you're trying to teach. It's not a debate. It's not, if you have an opinion about things, protest. Get on, and I ain't talking about on this sidewalk of the school, is to democracy, choices. See it from positive and negative side of things, from all angles. I didn't hear that in that video whatsoever. And so what you're doing, you're tainting. You're tainting. No different than what ISIS is doing, is propaganda type stuff, which is a bunch of bullshit. Stop corrupting the minds of our children, future generations. It is not protected under the First Amendment right. You're there, you have a job to do it. Just like with, President-elect Trump. Can you imagine Trump saying, okay, I'm your next president, and enjoy a nice cold Coca-Cola. And say, wait a minute, you're supposed to be our freaking president. Why are you trying to sell us a Coca-Cola? Now, not that Trump would do that, but you understand that. You have to set those boundaries. That's like why is from protesting versus rioting. Means you don't block up a street. You don't put other people's lives in jeopardy just because you want to be heard. I can hear you on that street and the sidewalk just as much as you be, more so because now you're showing order of things. That gives you more merit. When you block up a street and you prevent an ambulance of helping other individuals, you just lost all credibility with me. You can't take someone else's rights and liberties and opportunity away for the sake of you want to be heard. That's why we have a system of things. So that teacher, cross the line. Any teacher out there crosses that line, they're targeting our young generation, because a lot of these minds, they don't know. And that's with the fake information and fake news and all that stuff that's out there. It's so much of it, it's called discombobulation. You don't know what to believe. And that's what's happening with our youth out there. And that's why some of our youth is going to ISIS and going to Taliban and whoever else out there. Because they got this discombobulation in their head and they don't know what the fuck to believe. And that pisses me off, because this is leading to our generations saying, well, I just flip a coin. Well, I guess I'll try ISIS. So you can put any other thing in there. It's quite simple. It is a school. You have a subject. You have certain criterias, expectations. Now, teach it. You're not there to convince and say, well, okay, we got to build up our Democrats in order for us to win the Democratic Party for president. It's on it, the way it's being used out there. No. You keep that shit out of our school system. And that's why Trump had mentioned many things about our school system. And it's like, why are we such lower down amongst other nations on the intelligence in the school system? We suck. And we're a nation that has so many resources. And then our scores and SATs and people after their college or after schooling, they can't remember 25% of what they learned. It's because there's so many things in place. It's like they're thinking with their ass. Pardon my French. But no, you don't go in there. You're not protected under the First Amendment right. You're protected under teaching what you're being paid to do. You're not there to convince or persuade anyone. Now, if you're on a debate team, you have to show both sides, just like we got male and female. And you show all the different tools. You're not being biased. Now, you could be Democrat, you could be Republican. But it's your job to teach these youth how to be problem solvers, how to think for themselves. And when you get up there and you use propaganda and conjectures, it's like, okay, stop thinking, I'm going to listen to me and believe in what I say. That's what ISIS does. That's what any other group out there that's trying to form a radical ideal of things. And as we know with ISIS, they want to cut your head off. You don't want to believe in what they believe, they kill you. You know, just like in the school system. Next time we're going to have Islamic. Radical Islam. Radical. That's the key element. If you're not radical, then I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the ones who have deviated from the establishment. Islam is problem solving. And the derivative from that is bringing about peace. So no, that is duly noted. But you keep that shit out of our school system. You know, we got some brilliant minds out there. Teach them what you're being paid to do. It's real simple. Next time we're going to go into class and you're going to have all these little banners all up on the wall. Pepsi and Coca-Cola. And it's like, no. It's like television is about 40%, if not higher, of advertisement. Give it a break. There has to be, in terms of energy, the foundation. There's timing, placement, order of things. And when it's out of place, you get chaos. And that's what's happening out there. And especially amongst our youth. They're going in schools and shooting other schools up in theaters. Because you got a lot of the youth out there. They're going to ISIS. They're committing crimes. And it's because of that discombobulation. They don't know what to believe. And now they start picking what they think is true. So we have to be very careful. We just have to be really thorough at what we're doing and not mix in things. Now, let's say we're in politics class. Okay. But that still does not, you're being paid to teach politics in its entirety. You're not in that politics class to teach and say, well, Hillary Clinton did this and Hillary Clinton did that and Hillary Clinton. I didn't pay money for you to lecture me about Hillary. I'm paying you to teach me about politics. Teach me about different parts of the government. And teach me also is when something's not right. What are the certain things to identify? Being able to identify the right and the wrong. And also teach me how to correct it. So there's nowhere in school, college, we have to hold the teachers to a stricter formality. Because the thing is, it's just like, for another example, okay, you have a child, okay, and you have this child, and we'll just say it's a girl, okay, and I paint the room blue, and say, oh, Apis, I love blue. Your child may hate blue, okay, meaning that you're already in the beginning, you're conditioning the child to think in a particular way. Okay, I'm just using that as an example. If anything, if I was going to have a child, I'd have a neutral color. What's the neutral? Brown, beige. And then as my child grows up, I would set certain color swatches and see which one it goes for. Or it's always holding on to. And I wouldn't just take the first time and say, well, shoot, in the last year, it's my son is always grabbing the purple one. And I would say, okay, maybe I'll paint one side of the wall purple and see how he reacts to it. Then you're working with him. Or if you have a daughter, find out, take the time to understand your child. Don't develop him or her. Let them communicate to you how they are. And that's what's so wrong in our school system. And Donald Trump knows this. And his cabinet knows this. And if they don't know this, Donald Trump will let them know. So yes, this is my freaking pet peeve. That really, I've been holding off on this video because it angered me so freaking much. And it's like you're tainting the minds. You're wondering, well, we don't know why our children is being recruited by ISIS. Come on, wake up. You're confusing, using discombobulation. And our children, even though they're smart, they remember things, but they're still developing their maturity, their problem solving, rationale, facts. And then you wonder why they're being recruited. They're so discombobulated, and now they're just taking life upon themselves and says, well, that seems right. You can't put that shit in our school system. Whether it's someone trying to sell Pepsi or Coca-Cola, or you got someone that said, well, to be fair about this, because we want equal rights, us radical Islamic Muslims or whoever, we feel the right, we should be able to teach our youth, Americans, how to kill Americans. That sounds ludicrous, right? So does someone in a psychology class saying conjectures that's not under oath, that's stealing the student's time, in a sense is kidnapping them, in that sense, not that they're physically grabbed, but they're saying, okay, here's my class, now you're going to hear what I have to say. So kidnapping comes in different forms. But they are not protected under the First Amendment right. They are being paid to teach a particular criteria, foundation that is solid, that's been established. So hopefully this has opened this up. Yeah, it pisses me off. And if you're one of the professors out there and teachers, come to me. Come to me, and I'll give it 5 minutes. And you'll be so shameful you being a teacher. So stop that shit. And I hope that enough people waking up to this. And you wonder why our children going in and shooting up other kids, going in theaters, shooting up people, and why our children is going over and being influenced by join up with ISIS and Taliban or whoever out there. We have to stop this. Teachers are not protected under that. If they want to protest, they're entitled to that. But when they're being paid, teach it. Otherwise, you're stealing. You're literally almost as if you're reaching in their pocket, taking their money. Because now, since you took away 10 minutes, you say, well, okay, oh, you want another 10 minutes of teaching? Well, that'll be another $50, sir. Don't stop being a thief to our students. Stop teaching things that is not of fact. And it's on a conjectures. I think, I feel, I believe. Well, ISIS believe that they're the only group that should exist. And if you're not part of ISIS, they're going to cut your head off. On I believe, I think. You have to be functioning on what I know. We hold these truths to be self-evident. It means a no-brainer. If I'm sitting here naked, you're not going to have to ask me, Everett, are you a male? Your observation, bringing the facts forward, that itself stands by itself. So yeah, it really pisses me off. And I've been debating about putting this video on Duly Noted part 5. So that shit needs to stop. Wonder why other nations look at us as the devil incarnate, or they see us as like a joke. This is just one of many examples that happens in our society over here that makes all of us, if you look bad, and that's what a lot of Americans out there are pissed off, because when you look bad, then you're also making us look bad. And then other nations look at us and say, what a bunch of fools. They must be the devil incarnate. This shit needs to stop. We have to know the boundaries and set aside. And we have to be able to expand objective and creative of the mind, especially of our youth, because it's our youth, how they're going to function, be able to problem solve is what we are, once we get in our 60s and 70s, if life is going to be better instead of going backwards. And if they're in this mental state of discombobulation, they don't know what to do. We got major problems. And then you're starting it in the youth, in the school system. Oh, hell no. So that's my duly noted here. And I am solid on factual things. If you think you're a professor, you're my teacher, and I know what I'm doing, yeah, come to me for 5 minutes. And you'll be ashamed to even say the name teacher. Because I take teaching very seriously. You're being paid to teach psychology. Teach psychology and leave that other propaganda bullshit conjecture stuff out of the class. Now, if a teacher comes to you and says, you're my mentor. I have a lot of respect for you. After the class on your time, I want to hear what you have to say about politics. That's different. But when you hold a class and say, well, okay, what we're going to talk about today is Donald Trump this and Donald Trump that. She owes them money. And if it came from the state, then she owes the state money because she's taken away. She's not protected under that First Amendment right. And if she wants to protest, then get her ass or his ass on the sidewalk with his sign. But don't taint the minds of our youth. So we'll leave it right there because I can really feel myself getting freaking angry about this. I am very, very serious about the teaching, the method of which it's taught. And most importantly, if my student can't remember maybe 10% of what I taught him a year later, then that makes me look pathetic. And I do not. I refuse to look pathetic, or at least incompetent in that way. So when a student leaves my classroom, he's going to be on the level and say, well, damn, whatever taught me this, I can't get this shit out of my head. That's how you know you're effective with your students. Even if they try to forget it, they can't. Especially if it's solid foundational things that or tools, like tools in a mechanic toolbox, and they can use it down the life or down in their life as they're evolving, becoming more mature of an adult. And you say, hey, I remember ever doing this and this and this and this. But when you get a year down the road, they can't remember what the hell you taught because they're discombobulated up here. It's filled with a lot of nonsense stuff that's not, you're not under oath. You're filling it with discombobulation. And then you mix it in with some truth. And then the truth with the discombobulation, it's like, you don't know where it begins, where it ends, what's truth, what's not truth. So with our youth, you have to stick to it. So yeah, that shit needs to stop. If I was in charge of education, that shit wouldn't happen. You're under me and you're teaching my students. First of all, I'd make you pay back the students. If it was 10 minutes, I'd figure up how much 10 minutes worth it would cost in terms of the education. And then she would have to pay them back. And then she would leave. Now, if this was her first offense, okay, I can be sympathetic. And I'll say, okay. And then I will clarify psychology. You teach psychology. If you want to protest, you don't like Trump, fine. Take that outside the school system. If you want to protest, put it on the sidewalk. But these children are here. They're taking their time. Let's not waste their time. Let's teach them psychology, and let's make damn sure when they leave this class, they have a difficult time forgetting what the hell you taught them. Because when you forget it, you're also pissing it away. So if this person spent $40,000 to learn from you, and then you ask them a year later, and they're like, I don't know. Well, she did say something about how Trump was a bigot. I know that. Because people have a tendency to remember the negative stuff, the crap, the juicy stuff. And God forbid we remember something that can be our salvation, But I'm using it as an example. So if you are a teacher out there, professor, as people, when I was Einstein, trying to put me down, belittle me because they wanted to feel superior. And I gave them a taste, because that energy would not allow me to fully bring it out, because they would feel so horrible. They wouldn't even show their face if I did. You as a teacher, if you're engaging in this, I'm not asking you, stop this bullshit. You're affecting our youth. Come to me. Give me, all I need is 5 minutes with you. If you solely firm believe this is how you're supposed to be a teacher. And I guarantee you, I will not hold back on you. You will feel so pathetic and so incompetent on how you are conducting as a teacher. You'll wish you never got into teaching. That's how serious I am. If you're going to go and start tainting the minds of our youth and not allow them democracy, more than one choice, means view it from different perspectives. That's what, in debate, you hit it from different angles, up and down, all around. And in the debate, a lot of it, you will hear a lot of conjectures, I feel and I think. But when you do the debate, the end result is coming down to one result. When the dust settles, we hold these truths to be self-evident. What we have discussed, what we have debated in all different angles, it is quite clear to you and me and everyone else in this debate, like Hayek, that we have all come to the conclusion, air is hierarchy 1. Because without air, you die within minutes. That type of, we hold these truths to be self-evident. So don't come to me and say, I'm protected under the First Amendment right. No. You're being paid to teach a particular course. We have certain expectations on you because our youth. Some are lost. They don't know. They just feel, and they feel vulnerable. So they look up to the teachers for guidance, solid foundation guidance. And then when they end their class, especially with me, they're going to say, damn, I can't get this out of my head. Even if they want to. That's how you know you're an effective teacher. If they forget about it, they have to partake in it. They have to work it and develop it. But there'll be some things that they will not forget because of the techniques in which I have. And they'll say, oh my God, I'm cursed by Everett. Oh my God. There's variables and elements and oh my God. That's as far as being a teacher. You have to be effective. Because if they look pathetic, then I look pathetic. And I do not like being or looking pathetic. I'm okay being pathetic. But when I gave it my all, and then you're going to come at me as if I'm incompetent? Oh, hell no. So we have to bring that mile back to the inch and put a little organization, reasoning here. And then what we'll see is a lot of the stupid stuff that we see our youth doing will fizzle out. Just like the snake. They say cut the head off a snake and the two grows back. Well, if you got a snake and it's got 6 heads, there's also the reverse of that. You cut the right head off, the whole thing dies out. It's like a cold. You get rid of the cold, the snotty nose goes. The sore throat goes. Feeling yucky and feeling maybe vomiting. That will go away. If you just get rid of the cold, and then all these other symptoms go away. So this is about as nice as I can be in reference to that video of that teacher trying to teach propaganda, stuff that is not factual things to our youth. She's there to teach psychology. And I'll end it right there. Otherwise, I'm going to be cussing up so much. But that really pisses me off. That this actually is happening in our school system. I'll end it right there. This is Everett Pierce on the 15th day of December 2016. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.